This is part two of a two-part video on how to disassemble, clean, and relubricate a Magnavox Micromatic Record Changer. If you haven't seen the first part, then be sure and check that out. I'll include a link in the description where you can watch that. Most problems with record changers of this era are due to hardened grease and dirt, and so if you tear these down, clean them, relubricate them, oftentimes that will fix most problems. So I'll also include a link to a great tutorial by Larry Duron in the description. Lots of great pictures and instructions on how to go step by step through these and get them cleaned up. So thanks for watching. Stay tuned.
Okay, so I wanted to kind of show a close-up of this and just kind of show the areas that require cleaning and relubrication. So we've got this area here. Let's clean that up, make sure that spins or moves freely. And we're going to put just a little bit of grease here. And that should be it. Now this is the area I was talking about earlier when we were looking at the top side. This is for the drive wheel that drives the cam assembly. So we're going to pop that off and clean up that shaft there and apply a little bit of lubricant to that. So let's get started. Alright, so you just need to remove a C-clip here. Alright, so we'll set that aside. Go ahead and just lift this off. Now on these Micromatic record changers, I've seen grease applied here and here as well. This one doesn't look like there was anything on there. And maybe the ones that I saw were ones that had been serviced after being sold. But my experience has been, if you do put anything on there, just do it very lightly. This is an area that if you do put grease on there too much, will prevent it from sliding like it should. So I think we'll just clean it up, make sure there's not any dirt or any kind of residue on there to make sure those are sliding properly. You want a quick response, and you start applying grease, then that can actually slow it down. So I think that looks pretty good. Let's clean that up a little more there. Alright, so I'm just going to go back with a little rubbing alcohol here. You want to be really careful if you do anything with this. I like just to kind of go through and clean it up. Just want to be careful not to bend that. Set that back in there. Okay, so let's go ahead and clean this up, and we're going to reinstall this here.
To protect your engine, you have to change the oil. Right now at O'Reilly Auto Parts, pick up 5 parts with Mobile One full synthetic motor oil for $28.95. Protect your engine from sludge and wear with Mobile One full synthetic motor oil at O'Reilly Auto Parts. Better prices every day. Limit supply. See store for details.
Okay, and we're just going to put just a little bit of grease right here.
Ladies and gentlemen, are you ready for the only $5 meal worthy of your appetite? Wendy's Giant Junior Bacon Cheeseburger Meal. Our classic Junior Bacon Cheeseburger is now bigger, with double the fresh never frozen beef and double the hours of smoked
Okay,
bacon.
let's go ahead and just lift that up carefully.
Wendy's Giant Junior Bacon Cheeseburger Meal comes with nuggets,
Get back in
fries, and
place.
drinks for just $5. Get the $5 Giant Junior Bacon Cheeseburger Meal at Wendy's. Giant meal,
Okay.
Junior price. Go to Wendy's for a
And let's go ahead and put our C-clip back on there.
No, start with Lowe's, because Lowe's has the fixtures and the savings to get the job done right. Working on a big bath project? Now you can get up to 35% off select bath faucets, and you can even save up to 20% on select toilets. Plus, order what you need online and pick it up in store. See Lowe'sForPros.com for details. So, Pro, now that you know, start with Lowe's. Offers valid through 3/1 while supplies last. Selection varies by location. U.S. only. From a dog accidentally flooding a living room to a dog taking a joyride.
Okay.
Talk to farmers. We know what's in your food because we've seen it.
Alright, that looks good. Let's go ahead and we're going to go back and apply some grease there.
It's a giant meal for a junior price. Available at participating U.S. Wendy's for a limited time. 47-yard field goal by Stephen Gostkowski makes it 17-7 New England. 4:02 remaining in the third with Tony Vaselli, Hall of Fame finalist and Football Hall of Famer. Ross Tucker on the side in front of Kevin Cooley. 4:02 to go in the third. Draymond Smith back to our left. Waiting to kick
Okay.
off.
Alright, let's go ahead and disassemble this and clean and relubricate that. And just a C-clip that comes off. Now this is spring loaded here, so you want to be careful as you remove this. There's a washer on top you don't want to lose if that spring starts to come off. Alright. Okay, so we've got a couple of washers there. Our spring. So let's clean that up a little bit. Okay. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and reinsert that. And let's put a few drops of 3-in-1 in there and kind of work it back and forth. Alright. Just let that kind of work its way in there. Okay, we'll put our spring back. Alright, our 2 washers. May need my glasses here. With 3:03 Got a little bit of oil here. I think someone had sprayed some 3W WD-40 or maybe some 301 down in there. Let's get that up.
Kevin, just piggybacking off of Tony's point about Travis Kelce, when they don't split him out, when he's attached to the formation, they have had him block a lot. He's been chipping on his way out. They are worried about all the pressure Mahomes has gotten from the stunts.
Okay, so looks like our little spring came loose there. Okay, so I think we're ready to go back and reinstall this. Let's set this aside just for a second. Before we do that, we need to take a little shaft that we removed that adjusts the tone arm height. Go ahead and clean that up. We'll apply just a little bit. Work some in there. Alright, so let's go back with our piece here. Okay, so we'll lift this back up so we can get this under there. Okay, so really the thing that you have to look for, it's going to be difficult to see here, but this needs to line up. These two openings need to line up because you're going to be setting this on top of the pin that's on top of the gear assembly. Let's just kind of move that out of the way. Sometimes it's easier to accomplish than other times. Is in there. It's difficult to see, but everything is as it should be. Okay, so what I like to do is I'm going to flip this over and put those 3 screws back in there. Not necessarily tighten them down, but just get them in there where it's going to hold this in place while I make some final adjustments here. Make sure everything is moving as it should. So let's flip this over.
Pizza Hut, we're more than medium one-topping pizzas for $5. We're the $5 lineup with wings, cinnamon, mini rolls, and more. Did we mention the medium Pizza Hut pizzas? 2 or more is $5 each. Ask for click for product availability.
There we go.
Prices, participation, delivery areas, and minimum free charge is not a driver tip.
Westwood One's coverage of the NFL playoffs is brought to you by Navy Federal Credit Union. Proudly serving the armed forces, DOD, veterans, and their families. Our members are the mission. Insured by NCUA.
WestwoodOneSports.com every weekday during the NFL season. charged Jonathan Jones with the penalty. It was not Jonathan Jones. It was J.C. Jackson. Jones kind of drifted into the area late. And they say, no, wait a minute.
They ran the exact same play in the first game contest. It's a 3 wide. Kelsey's the inside receiver. He runs the corner out. Mahomes missed them the first game. He underthrows it here, actually. But P.I. bails him out.
Anthony Sherman fullback in motion from left to right. First and goal at the 1. Now motion from right to left from Watkins. Mahomes play action. Rolls right. Throws on the run. He's got Damian Williams. Touchdown. Rolling right. Fired a strike to Williams, who crosses the goal line for 6. And the Chiefs are within a score. 13:51 to go. Down 17-13.
Boy, 15 for the Chiefs has some moxie, doesn't he? So a little roll out to the right. Damian Williams is covered up by Hightower early. But the patience of Mahomes, he lets the play develop. Separation comes late. Van Noy's in his face, but he doesn't flinch. Cuts back that right arm with the flick of the wrist. That's a dart.
Okay, so we got those 3 screws installed. So before you go back and really start tightening those down, you just want to kind of test and make sure that everything is spinning as it should. Everything's nice and flush. All right, so that looks good there. All right, so we're going to go back and let's start on this. And we'll go ahead and install our shaft for the tone arm. Okay, so we removed this piece earlier. This little roller goes down inside, and the cam assembly will spin this and cause the arm here, which is going to be pressing against that, to raise and lower. And so this is what's pushing this bar up to raise the tone arm. So we will make sure that this mechanism here, this assembly, can spin and move freely. So we're going to disconnect the 2 pieces here, clean those up, and apply a little grease to it there.
With the new year upon us, there's never been a better time to consider membership at the Greens Country Club. The club has enjoyed over $1 million in recent improvements, with more on the way in 2019. Enroll now in any category and pay 0 dues until March 2019. Whether you're looking to play golf on our renovated championship layout, hone your tennis skills on our 6 indoor and outdoor tennis courts, stick to your New Year's resolution in our fitness center, or lounge poolside this spring and summer, the Greens offers something for the whole family. Looking to connect with others in the community, the club offers a wide variety of social events for all ages, including wine paired dinners, family game nights, networking events, kids night out, and so much more. The all-new Twisted Oak Tavern provides
So the thing really here to watch for is to make sure that this spins freely, and make sure that's nice and clean before you apply any grease there. So that looks good there. Let's clean the other one here.
Right now at CVS Pharmacy, you can earn up to 50 extra bucks rewards each year for filling prescriptions. Visit your local CVS Pharmacy to sign up. Some exclusions apply. See cvs.com/RX rewards for terms and conditions, including state restrictions. Kansas City's offense has been a big play offense. 3 plays producing 129 yards. 42, 54, and 32. The other 31 plays have produced 48 yards. But Tony Baselli,
Okay.
it's enough.
All right, so we're going to just go back, apply a little bit of grease here, and then we're going to grease the roller up here. So.
Very similar to that game at Foxborough. They were down 24-9 at halftime, came back to take a lead before. Cornell Patterson on a short kickoff across the 20-yard line, and Patterson stopped just shy of the 25, then even on the stop after the 18-yard return. A reminder that
Okay.
today at Super Bowl 53 from Mercedes.
So let's go ahead and reattach our C clip here.
Super Sunday on CBS. Check your local listings for more details. Of course, you can also hear Super Bowl 53 right here on Westwood One, beginning with a pregame show at 4 p.m. Eastern on most of these same stations. Rams will be there with the 26-23 win over the Saints in overtime. That is going to be a lot of talk about a call that wasn't made
Okay. Alright, so that looks good. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and let's apply some grease to the roller. Okay, so that's going to go down in the opening there. It's going to roll on the cam assembly. That goes there. Alright, we'll go ahead and go ahead and put our C-clip back on here. Okay. Alright. Okay, we're back. Battery on the camera just died. Had a chance to recharge it. I think where we left off, we had just had installed this tone arm leverage bar. This is what raises the tone arm when it's cycling through the auto function. And so the next step is to install this piece. Okay, let's put the other one in here. Okay, so I just noticed, this is something I'd cautioned everybody about earlier, and I guess in making some of the adjustments, this has slipped out, and I'm going to have to back this off a little bit so I can get that back in there where it belongs. Okay. Better to catch that now than when you install it and it's not working the way it should. So get that fixed. Okay. Alright, so as I'm kind of tightening things down, I'm continually checking to make sure that, that this is spinning as it should. So that's good there. Okay, so let's move on to the audio connection assembly here in the muting switch. I'm going to spray a little deoxit here. Just pull these connections off and just work them back on there a couple of times. Okay, I'm ready to reinstall that. Okay, so we're going to go back and place the spring there. Okay. Okay, so before I completely tighten that down, I always like to take a look at the spring, the orientation, to make sure it's nice and straight, and adjust it if necessary. But that looks good, so we're going to go ahead and tighten that down. Okay. All right. Let's inspect our work here, make sure everything's okay. We missed that. Let's go and reattach this. It's a ground wire to the motor. Okay, so we've got just a little bit of cleanup left here. We need to clean this area here. Probably should have done that before I lubricated the other side, but that's okay. I'm going to clean this here and re-lubricate that. And I think we may be finished with the bottom side of it. So let's get that cleaned up real quick, and we'll head back on top and get busy on that. looks good. So let's apply a little grease here on the top. Okay, looks good. Okay, so just a couple of things we need to button up here. We need to go ahead and put our spring back on here. Okay, we're back. So where we left off, we were just going through everything again on the bottom side, just kind of buttoning things up, making sure that we haven't forgotten anything. I think where we kind of left off, I still need to put this washer and clip on this motor mount here. And then we'll do one final inspection before we go on top and finish up there. So let's go ahead and get this here. Now I've discovered that my choice in carpet tile on top of my bench is probably not the best. This dark color, it sure is easy to lose these little C clips here, so I'll have to look at maybe changing that. Okay. Alright, so before I go back on top, I want to just kind of cycle through and make sure that everything is moving as it should down here. So let's go ahead and I'm looking for is making sure that the tone arm is raising, the muting switch is working here. That all looks good. At this point, it's not going to do the auto shut off because we don't have those parts reinstalled on top. But again, really all we're looking for here is just to make sure that everything is spinning and moving as it should. And that looks good. So do one final check and make sure we've got this tightened down. Okay, I think that looks good. Everything else is where it's supposed to be. Okay, so let's get back on top here. And let's begin by doing a really thorough cleaning under the platter here. And it's especially important to get on this little edge or rim around the outside of it. This is where the platter is going to rest, and make sure this is clean, just to reduce any kind of friction or anything that could possibly cause it to slip. Get the rest of it here. This one has not required a lot of cleanup. I've worked on some that must have been stored outside or in a barn or something, just absolutely filthy. But this one, I think, has been well cared for, and so this does not require a lot of cleaning here. Okay, so let's move on, and we're going to install this piece now. This is part of the auto shutoff function, and this is one of those things you want to add just a little bit of grease here. Too much can cause problems, so we're just going to put a thin little coat of grease on here and then reinstall it here. So doesn't require much. And I wanted to mention too, you really need to be careful in working with this spring or any of these springs on here. I've had these break on me, and they're difficult to reproduce. I mean, maybe impossible. And so you want to be sure that you exercise great care when using that. So this piece here, the bottom part goes inside. And then let's reinstall this end of the spring here. Okay, let's go and get our C-clip on that. Now, time to get out the glasses. Okay, so what we want to ensure here, make sure that C-clip is on there. And it looks like it is. I don't know why I'm questioning that. It seems fine. But really want to make sure that we've got quick responsive action here in this lever. it is possible if you get the C-clip down too far and really force it on there, it'll prevent it moving as it should. So you really have to make sure that C-clip is where it's supposed to be here. Okay, so that looks good. Nice quick response there. So, all right. So one thing I don't think I did earlier on, I want to do now that I'm thinking of it. I think when we came back up and initially started to install the bottom piece, I don't think we tightened these fully down. I think I typically leave a little bit of space in there just to allow some movement on the bottom side if I need it. But then we can go back and tighten those down. It looks like maybe I did. That first one's pretty good. Yeah, that one needed a little bit of. Okay, so those are fine. Okay, so let's go on to the next piece here. And this is just it's the washer and the C-clip. And let me grab my spring here. Okay, so let's go again over that area and make sure that it's really clean. And let's clean that washer. Okay, and we're just going to apply just a little bit of grease here, just to ensure that that washer can slide as it needs to here. So put just a little bit on the back. And I just kind of work it back and forth. Spread that grease around that opening there a little bit. So, okay. All right. So next thing is we're going to reinstall our C-clip here. Sometimes I spend more time looking for tools that are right in front of me. Alright, let's get that on there. Okay, that looks good. Alright, so the last step on this, let's go ahead and reinstall the spring. And we should be good to go. Let's go ahead and make sure that everything is working now on top side here. Looks good. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and we're going to kind of clean up this this motor pulley here. Let's get some alcohol. Now sometimes if there's a lot of residue from the idler wheel that's left on here, sometimes I'll go back with like an emery board and just something really soft where it's not going to do any major damage, but that'll get that residue off. That's not necessary here. It's pretty clean. Okay, let's go ahead and install our drive wheel. Now with both the drive wheel and then the idler wheel, as we'll demonstrate here in a little bit, you want to install these with the, typically I have a stand that I work with these on, and I haven't folded it out, so we'll just kind of walk through the steps here. Normally this is mounted on a stand when I'm doing this, and the reason for that is the motor is somewhat suspended here. I mean, there's a little bit of movement here with these motor mounts, and so when you line up the idler wheel and the drive wheel, you want to make sure that it's in the position it's going to be when it's in the cabinet, because if you start adjusting one or both of the wheels while it's just sitting on the bench, it's not going to be lined up properly when it's in the cabinet. So you just, again, I kind of do it when I've got the stand out. I think I should be able to go ahead and let's engage the drive wheel, kind of get an idea of where it's going to sit, and that actually looks really good. And so I think we'll just have to tighten that one down there. Okay. Alright, so that's nice and flush with that step, so that should work good. Okay, so normally what I would do before I install the idler wheel and the drive wheel, I will have treated it with some rubber renew. Not going to do that tonight, but I will just mention that this is something that I've started using recently, and has worked really well so far. It just gives it a little more pliability in the rubber, and because what happens, I think I mentioned this at the beginning, this rubber will wear out, gets worn, and so the edge of the idler wheel and also the drive wheel will get so hard and slick that it spins. Again, it's the inside of the, as far as the idler wheel, and the inside of the platter. And so using this rubber renew will give it the pliability and give it the grip that it needs to spin that properly. So normally I would have already treated these, let them sit for 24, 36 hours, and then would reinstall them. So off camera, I'll go ahead and treat those and then reinstall them. So. But let's go ahead and move towards the idler wheel. Get that installed. We'll raise this up a little bit where we can get to it here. Get the C-clip. For that same screwdriver. This is one of these C-clips that you really have to be careful when you're reinstalling it. I've had these things pop off, and I've spent more time than I'd like to admit on the floor looking for them. So you really want to exercise some caution in putting this back on. Get your fingers over it where it does pop off. It's not going anywhere. Okay, well, I say that. Okay. Well, it just popped off again. Let's see, get that washer down just a little bit. I just want this to pop up a little bit. And this makes for exciting video, doesn't it? Okay, I think that's on there. Okay, so really just a couple of things left to do, and the next step is we're going to go back in with the washers and the bearings that we pulled out when we first got started. Go back in the order in which we pulled them out, and this is the first one. It's unlike the others. It's got two raised and two little indentions on both sides, and this is the first piece that you want to go back with. This doesn't require lubrication. We just want to make sure that it's clean. So let's clean this real quick. Okay, so that goes in first. Next we have a regular washer, and we just need to clean this one. Okay, so the next is our little bearing or little bushing here. And this one doesn't look too bad. Of course, you're not going to be able to see it, or if I get close enough, I don't know if it's going to focus. But this this grease is not too bad. I've come across some where it was gone, or it was just hard as a rock. And I mean, this is a little stiff, but I've seen worse. So we're gonna dig this out, clean that out, and then we'll repack it with grease. So I'll do that off camera and be back in a second. We're back, and I've completed the repacking of grease inside the bearing bushing here. So I've gone back with just straight lithium grease, and just you really want to pack it in there. And I use I'll apply it really thick, and then go back with a washer and put a washer over it just to kind of pack everything in there. And then go ahead and put a little grease on the top side of it. Before I do that, I go through and check each one of these ball bearings, make sure it's spinning freely, and it's good to go. So we'll go ahead and drop that one back in there. All right. So we got one more washer that goes in, and let's get this cleaned up. Okay, and just kind of as you go, you're just inspecting for any dirt or any residue. Make sure it's nice and clean there. That looks good. I'll drop that one in there. Okay, and the last washer is just a really thin kind of a rubber washer, and that will go on the top side of the platter here. So we're going to go ahead and clean the platter real quick. Okay, and then usually I'll go ahead and apply just a little bit of grease inside there. And let's go ahead and clean the underside of the platter here too. And it's really important that you clean this thoroughly, because this is what the idler wheel is rubbing up against that's driving the platter. So you want a nice clean surface to make sure that there's nothing on there that would cause the idler wheel to slip as it's spinning. And really it's this edge here. Okay, let's go ahead and pop our little washer back in there, which I managed to drop. There it is. Okay, so I'm going to set that aside for a second. I just realized when we were working on the idler wheel earlier, I didn't mention. I'm going to go ahead and pop this off so you can see it a little bit better. We talked a little bit about the importance of making sure that the drive wheel was seated properly against the motor pulley. Well, it's equally important, maybe more important, on the drive wheel that it's matched up as well. So you can look at the motor pulley. Of course, you can't see it here, but the motor pulley has steps, and each one of these represents a different speed. On most of the one, there's 4 speeds. 16, 33, 45, and 78. And so the idler wheel, as you're adjusting this, it's raising the idler wheel so that it matches up with one of these steps. Then creating the speed that's been selected. So we kind of talked about making sure that the record changer is suspended when you're doing this. That you want to make sure the idler wheel matches up with each step, and that there's no overlap. If there's overlap, you're going to know it's not going to spin at the proper speed. And if you do have to adjust the idler wheel, this is the screw that you do it. So you can just go counterclockwise, and that's lowering it, and go clockwise, and that's raising it. Usually, it doesn't require a lot of adjustment. Maybe just occasionally a little bit, but you want to just make sure that the idler wheel is when it's engaged and it's against the motor pulley, that it's evenly flush or set against that step. So I wanted to mention that. So okay, so we're going to pretend like the idler wheel is back in place. One thing I realized I didn't do, and I'll just point out here, the video is starting to run long. Go ahead and just apply a little bit of grease here on the balance arm. And just put a little bit here, and then on the bottom side, just right here, a little bit on the arm itself, and then on on the edges of the opening there to make sure that moves freely. And we had taken off the little C-clip on the tone arm bar that raises the tone arm, and so we would reinstall that. We'll leave that off for now. Okay, so I guess the last thing is, go and put the planter back on. And normally, what we would do is we would, spend some time or just, do some detail work cleaning this. A lot of times we'll just get a soft brush and just kind of wash this, and then go back and apply some Armor All to it. On some of these older record changers, these mats get really hard and brittle, and sometimes you'll see where they've broken. So we just add a little Armor All to it just to protect it and keep it looking good. So I think the last thing I want to demonstrate is you want to check the tracking force and adjust it if necessary. This is just a little meter that I think we got this off Amazon maybe for 20 bucks, and we use it on the gram setting. Now Magnavox recommends on this particular record changer the tracking force be somewhere between 3 and 3/4 gram. And so how you do that, you just pull it out and turn it on. Make sure it's set to grams, which I think is the default. Okay, so it looks like this is not zeroed out. We're going to pretend like it is, just for demonstration purposes. And so you would just lift the tone arm up and just rest it on the scale. And it's going to give you a reading here. And so we're going to pretend like it's pretty close and just requires a little bit of adjustment. On this particular record changer, the tracking force is adjusted back here on the back. Just this little knob here, you would just adjust that to increase or decrease the tracking force. So usually it takes just a couple of adjustments to get it right in there. So we usually put it right in between 3 and 3/4 gram, and that's really important. Excessive force on the tone arm will damage your records, and it's going to affect the sound quality as well. So you want to make sure that you get that as close to the factory recommendations as you can. So that's it. This is something that usually takes a better part of a day. We sit down and we're very thorough and going through everything. I'm going to include a link to a great tutorial in the comments. It's a tutorial that was done by Larry Duran, and if you wanted more information on how to do these kinds of reconditionings, his tutorial walks you through it. Lots of pictures, great detail on the explanations on how to do it. So I'll include that in the comments, and if you guys have questions, comments, please feel free to leave those, and I'll respond as quick as I can. So my only other suggestion would be, or advice would be, is if you do this, especially the first couple of times, as you're going, take lots of pictures. As you're pulling things apart, take pictures of where everything's at. It just makes it a lot easier as you're going back and trying to reassemble things, where you have something that you can go back and reference. So hope you guys find this helpful. We appreciate you guys watching us, and stay tuned for more videos. Thanks.